Hello and welcome to this edition of a Young Alumni Leadership Podcast video presented by collegegradlife.com. I am Dustin Norman. Now in this video we're going to be talking about a specific article that was on College Grad Life today titled Why America Needs to Get Its Balls Back. Now to be honest, I think that this is a really important topic, especially for anyone who's a young leader or a young professional or somebody just in Generation Y who wants to give a crap about their country or the future of the country that they're going to live in. Even if you don't care about the country, if you're still going to live here, you might care about how good or dilapidated it actually is. So I think the first thing we need to start focus on is that unfortunately, America has now given up on a tradition of creating things, and we've moved into a tradition of consumption, and this is where we've lost our balls actually. Our balls were forged and founded in genocide, in slavery, in not giving a shit about anyone else. And I don't mean that in terms of those things were good, but they at least typified the idea that Americans 100 years after the UK had already outlawed slavery, the United States was still like, yeah dude, this is our thing, because we didn't care. We knew that if we were doing it, it was right to us, and we didn't care what anybody else said. And we were willing to create our own future even in the face of complete ignorance on our behalf. And I think this might be a little, that might be a little bit of the issue of what we're dealing with now, but it's even deeper. I mean, seriously, our lack of creation has gone to the point where it's manifested itself in our manufacturing. We don't even create anything physically anymore, let alone with the idea in our head that we can create our own future. Now, it's moved, and the idea of what America is in terms of creating things has moved. I mean, you go to India, I'm sure you're going to find some Punjab kid, 12 years old, walking through streets filled with trash and garbage, filled with shit and urine, because legitimately they are, walking barefoot on his way to school with a smile on his face, because he knows that he's walking to improve his future. He's not worried about the past, he's not worried about the present, he's worried about getting to that future and owning it. And that's what we need to get back to in the United States, and especially as an American mentality, just on a personal level. Now, we need to stop really focusing on preserving it, on preserving what's going on right now. That's what we've lost. We've lost our ability to be able to focus on the future and deal with a little bit of hardship. And to be honest, it's a big problem that we're dealing with. People are more concerned about how to earn a quick buck off of the government than they are worried about how to actually go out and start a business for themselves. I mean, seriously, making a meal has refined itself down to how many buttons you have to push on the microwave, as sadly as that is. Legitimately, this is where we're going to have to start. We're going to have to start with people understanding that they've been infected with a bystander syndrome, saying, I have let responsibility come out of my life far too often and far too much, where now if something serious were to go down, I would be a bystander and a voyeur. And you need to start cutting yourself off of the idea of frickin' reality TV, getting yourself off of your stupid Facebook if you spend too much time in there and watching too much TV, just in general. These are all major American problems of consuming too much information instead of creating information. I mean, the average American works 40 hours a week and then watches 5.5 hours a day of TV. I don't even know how that's possible, considering that you sleep 8 hours a day and then you go to work 8 hours a day, that's 16 hours. So then you have 8 hours left for eating, showering, and time with your family and friends, and you spend 5.5 of that with TV. That doesn't make any sense to me. It shows me that we're not creating our lives and we're just consuming our lives, which I think is an important fact that we need to recognize, we need to take back, which is why America needs to regain its balls and start creating the world around it as Americans and not just in this mindset that it's going to be given to us. Now, we need to just stop being that guy at the high school reunion. I'm serious about this. Right now, America and people who are Americans are in that mindset of that dude who's that creepy douchebag at the 10-year high school reunion who's reliving his past and doesn't realize that like everybody else has moved on. Instead of focusing on the past, we need to start seizing the future, and this is legitimate. I mean, a lot of people in our generation look up to people like Steve Jobs, but what does Steve Jobs do? He's constantly never satisfied. I mean, he probably is internally as like a Buddhist and person who's really like in tune with himself, but when it comes to the work that he does, the dude gets sick of a product the day he launches it. I mean, I have the iPad and I'm super pissed at this man's constant ambition to constantly improve and get a new product out every single year. I mean, legitimately, the iMac that I'm using right now to take a picture of my face is outdated. I bought it in September. Okay, that pisses me off. The iPad I bought in July is outdated. Are you kidding me? What kind of stuff is this? But that is the American mentality of what we need to get back to, of the idea that we're constantly creating and we're never just content. I mean, you look at the companies who really failed the United States, and not necessarily failed, but have not done as well. Microsoft, for instance, they got content with the type of system that they had, the type of operating system, the type of user that they had, the type of market share that they had, and they started to get dominated. Dell started to creep in. You know, you have Linux who started to creep up. Mac started to take over. You have Google who's going to start an operating system. Things like that. People who get content are the ones who get taken over, and we need to get rid of this idea of content in our lives. We need to start focusing on what we can create to how to make our lives better in the future, and realizing that if you focus on continually making your life better in the future, eventually you're going to be in that future and your life is going to be a lot better, and you're going to still be making it better than that. I mean, that's how entrepreneurs work. You look at someone who like P. Diddy. Okay, P. Diddy, kid who grew up on the streets in Brooklyn, to where he is now, where he's worth nearly $200 or $300 million. And the man is never content. He's constantly pushing for more. And now he's in the part of his life where he's planned to get to this point where this future that he evolved into and really worked for has become his reality. But he's not content. He's not done. He's not just going to be like, I'm going to stop working. I'm just going to spend all my money, because we've seen Mike Tyson blow through $300 million in a decade because he got content with what he had. He got focused on what he had and started preserving what he had as opposed to trying to build on the future. And this is what we need to really focus on. This is why America needs to get its balls back. This is why this part of the article, and I did a podcast on this too, that's in iTunes if you want to check it out. I'll put links in the show description below. But this is a really important concept that every single young leader, every single young person, Generation Y, Gen X, and even Baby Boomer needs to be focused on, is that we've gotten away from creating and we've gotten into just consuming. And we can change this as long as we get rid of being content, we start focusing on building a future, and we admit to ourselves that the past was pretty cool, but it's over, okay? It's over. There's nothing left. You cannot go back to it. You have to admit that to yourself. If you can't admit that to yourself, you're eventually going to be stuck in regrets, because you're going to realize that all you did was waste your time looking at pictures, photos, agonizing over how sweet it used to be, and then eventually you're gonna look back and go, wow, that was a really shitty time period. I didn't do anything that whole time. The only thing I was doing was like, I'm number one, I'm number one. Wait, I'm not number one? Right, that's exactly what's happening if you don't want, if people don't want to start evolving past where we are right now. They don't want to start creating their future, that's fine. I'm never going to tell you that being mediocre is a no, okay? Because no one's ever going to tell you that being mediocre is a problem. They're always going to say, oh, be mediocre, dude, that's just life. But it's hard to be good already. It's easy to be mediocre, it's hard to be good, but if you want to be great, if you want to be able to provide for your family, take care of yourself, have financial freedom, start a business, be a leader, be someone who's respected and really idolized by other people, become a celebrity, whatever your thing is, you have to focus on becoming great and creating that future in front of you. And I'm legitimately serious here. You can go read this article on collegegradlife.com about why America needs to get its balls back. And I lay out some different statistics, not even statistics, well, one statistic about people not joining the military even though there's high unemployment. It doesn't make any sense. It's because people have gotten to this point where they don't want to improve themselves. They just want to preserve what they used to have. So instead of joining the military, where they get a guaranteed job, be able to go get GI Bill, go to college, get housing, get benefits for the rest of their life, they say, you know what, I'll just be unemployed. Because it's easier that way. That's legitimately the most insane thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. That between the ages of 16 and 19 right now, the general age for people who get recruited and join the military, the unemployment is 25% plus. 25% plus. Okay? Think about that. But instead people are like, you know what, I'd rather be unemployed or work at McDonald's or just get a promotion at Arby's for 25 cents since I got my degree, whatever. But it's just, it doesn't make any sense. And I'm pleading with you as a young leader, as somebody who's watching this, who's somebody who's focused on making sure that their life is better in the future and the lives of those around them are better. Make sure that you take the time to figure out how you can not be content, how you can create your future, and how you can inspire those around you to understand that this is not a problem of a massive level. This is a problem that we as individuals can face and that we can fix ourselves. And then your life will be better, and the lives of the people who you touch and inspire will be better, which means that the people around you are going to be better, and they can inspire and touch other people. Now, I want to thank you for watching this video. This has been a presentation of a Young Alumni podcast video presented by collegegradlife.com. You can always contact me on Twitter at YalpHost, YALP host, or you can email me at yalphost@gmail.com. I'll put both of these in the show descriptions down here, and I'll make sure to put these in the show notes right. Yep, you here. Thank you. Have a good day. Go out and lead someone. They need your help. I'm not even joking.